There is a truth at the heart of the Christian faith that has steadied trembling souls for centuries. Nothing can separate those who belong to Jesus from the love of God. Paul did not write these words from a place of comfort or theory. He wrote them as a man who had faced imprisonment, rejection, danger, and the constant nearness of death. From that place, he spoke with settled conviction, not optimism, but assurance. When Paul names the forces people fear most, he is not merely listing threats, he is dismantling them one by one. Death, the great unknown, the final boundary that terrifies humanity, Paul declares it powerless. Death does not sever love, it delivers believers into it more fully. For followers of Jesus, death is not abandonment, but arrival. Life, with all its unpredictability, pressures, and wounds, is also named. Life can exhaust us, confuse us, and sometimes feel harder than death itself. Yet, even life, with its chaos and pain, cannot dilute God's love. God is not only present at the end, He is present in the middle. Angels and demons, representing the unseen spiritual realm, remind us that forces beyond human sight exist. Paul acknowledges spiritual power without fearing it. No heavenly being, no dark influence, no spiritual opposition has authority to override what God has secured in Christ. The present, with its immediate crises, unanswered prayers, and pressing fears, cannot separate us, nor can the future with all its unknowns. What we are facing now and what we cannot yet imagine are equally held within God's faithful reach. Paul then speaks of powers, systems, authorities, structures, and forces that seem overwhelming. Empires rise and fall, cultures shift, power changes hands, yet none of these shape the final story of those loved by God. Height and depth speak to extremes, whether moments of great elevation or seasons of profound despair. There is no spiritual altitude where God's love thins, and no emotional or moral depth where it cannot reach. No distance, visible or invisible, places us beyond His grasp. And finally, Paul closes every loophole. Anything else in all creation, if it exists, it is created. And if it is created, it is not stronger than the Creator. Nothing remains unaccounted for, nothing is left out. This message is not denial of suffering, it is defiance of despair. It does not claim believers will never hurt, it promises they will never be abandoned. The love of God is not fragile, conditional, or easily broken. It does not depend on our strength, consistency, or clarity. It rests on Christ. For believers in the past who faced persecution, this truth kept them standing. For believers today facing anxiety, loss, uncertainty, or failure, it still speaks with quiet authority. You are held. The reassurance is simple yet profound. No force you fear, no season you enter, no power you encounter can undo what God has done in Christ Jesus. His love is not something you cling to desperately. It is something that clings to you faithfully. And in that love, past and present, living and dying, seen and unseen, you are never alone.